Today I have got an amazing list of 12 fall fragrances from designer houses. This is like the ultimate selection of fall fragrances. Every one of them is fantastic, so stay tuned. I think you're going to like these. Right before we get going, I want to ask you to consider clicking that subscribe button. About 85% of those who watch aren't subscribed, so come on, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click it. And then also, I want to ask you to leave down in the comments, what would you add to this list of fall fragrances? I'd love to hear from you and interact with you a little bit. All right, here we go. We have got, first up, kind of a classic at this point, a modern classic. It is just made for fall, although I think you can wear it pretty much all year round. I'm talking about just the original Spice Bomb. Now, Spice Bomb, newer formulation, some people say they don't get great performance out of. My bottle is 2 years old, and I still get good performance out of it. So I don't know if there's anything to those complaints, but I can tell you this bottle is about a 7 or 8 hour performer, and it is just a beautiful, spicy, sweet fragrance. You've got a mix of some warm spices like cinnamon, but also some fresh spiciness like aromatics. With a real base of woods, a very noticeable woody base, and also a little bit of citrus in the opening. So if you like spicy fragrances with some sweetness, this one is a killer. The original Spice Bomb by Viktor and Rolf. All right, next up, another one that is getting a lot of love, has been getting a lot of love since it came out. And this is one that has kind of significantly increased in price over the past year or two, but man, it is worth it. I'm talking about Wanted by Night by Azzaro. This fragrance right here is a tobacco-based fragrance, sort of like a honey sweet tobacco. You've got some kind of beautiful citrus in the opening, which that sweet and citrus mixing with some cinnamon and some other spices. It's just such a wonderful kind of mesmerizing fragrance. It's a great date night fragrance, but it's really one that will work all day long, especially in the fall and in the winter. This one right here, Wanted by Night, there's a reason that it's so well known in the fragrance community. It's unique, it's beautiful, and it's definitely worth picking up. Okay, next up, we're going to go with one that is, again, one that people know about and love. I picked it up right after it came out, and I've been wearing it on and off ever since. I'm talking about just the original Dolce & Gabbana, the one. This is the EDT. I like the EDP as well. If I was going to pick, I would say this one for fall, that one for winter, but they're both great. What you're going to get here is another fragrance that features tobacco. This one also has some cardamom and some other spices. And this one is quite a bit different from Wanted by Night and even from Spice Bomb in that this one's got a little bit of powderiness, and it's also got a certain kind of texture, like a three-dimensional sillage that especially for the first 4 or 5 hours is just like you're engulfed in this warm, spicy, somewhat sweet fragrance cloud. It's a beauty, and as you can tell, I like me some tobacco fragrances in the fall. Although I think the rest of them, there might only be one more tobacco fragrance. So, all right, next we're going to go with a leather fragrance, one that got a lot of hype when it came out, and there's been some great flankers of this one as well. But this is the only one you can still find readily available other than the kind of yearly seasonal ones that they do. I'm talking about CH Men by Carolina Herrera. This is just a beautiful leather fragrance. You've got leather, you've got some saffron, you've also got some spices. I believe this one also has cardamom in it. There's a sugar note as well that gives a little bit of sweetness, and there's even a touch of grassy greenness that's in this fragrance. Apparently in the older formulations that was much stronger. In the newer batches there's just a touch of it, just a hint, gives it some uniqueness. But if you like leather fragrances with a little bit of spice, this one you can get at a great price, and there's a reason that people still love it, 10 years or so after it came out. All right, next up, we're going to go with one that has been hard to find for a couple years, but I've noticed lately it's been in stock quite a bit. I've seen it many times in the past several months. I'm talking about this absolutely gorgeous high-end designer that sometimes you really have to pay for. I'm talking about Dior Fahrenheit Parfum, Le Parfum. So basically what you get with this one is Dior Fahrenheit with the gasoline vibe rolled back significantly, with the fresh spiciness still there, that wonderful spice that kind of characterizes the original Fahrenheit along with that gasoline. It's the same spicy profile, but they add to this one some vanilla and some booziness. This one does not have cinnamon in it, but it reminds me so much of, like, you know, hot cinnamon. It just has that feel of like a warm, spicy, boozy fragrance. It's got way more sweetness than the original Fahrenheit. It is just made for fall. I mean, I think, you know, warm, spicy fragrances with some sweetness in the fall. And this one right here is what you want to get. It is cheaper than it used to be. You can get it for, you know, $110 or so now for the 2-ounce bottle. And I've seen it go for $200 for the 2-ounce bottle. So, all right, next up, we've got one that is well known and well loved, another sweet, spicy fragrance. I'm talking about the original Amen by Thierry Mugler. This one is just the most amazing mix of a gourmand fragrance, so you know, that sort of edible dessert-like sweetness, with a warm spicy and aromatic spicy blend that come together so well. You've got some licorice, some coffee, you've got a chocolatey patchouli, you've got mint, you've got honey and milk. And the crazy thing about this is you can pick out almost every note listed in this very complex fragrance because it's so well done, such high quality, so well blended. It's still unique all these years later. Gotta love it. The original Amen by Mugler. And you can still buy this one. I think it's about the only one in the line that you can pretty easily get nowadays. All right, next up, we're going to go with one that, again, is well loved for very good reason. I'm talking about Versace Eros EDP. This one is Eros that's grown up a little bit. You've got a little less in-your-face sweetness. It's not quite as loud or, you know, some would consider as youthful as the EDT, but you've still got that beautiful vanilla. You've got a candied apple. You've got mint. You've got lavender. You've got all of that beautiful, sweet, bright, vanillic fragrance with a little bit of an aromatic touch. This is a great fragrance that's not just for clubbing. This is one you can wear pretty much anywhere, anytime in the fall. And if you haven't tried it, I would highly recommend it. Okay, next up, we're going to go with one that is the only niche fragrance in this video, but it's priced as a designer. You can get this for less than $100. I'm talking about this beast right here, Intense Sidra Boise by Mancera. I love the original Sidra Boise for warmer weather, but this one for fall is fantastic because this is basically just the original DNA with a little more leather and a touch of oud. And so it just comes across as a little more woody and a little more leathery. You know, think like 20% more of those dry notes mixing with all of that wonderful bright citrus. It brings it down enough from a bright summer fragrance, you know, to a perfect fall fragrance that still, you know, puts you in a good mood. It's a happy fragrance, but it's got enough heft to last all day and to cut through a little bit of cold weather as we go deeper into the fall. Okay, next we're going to go with one that I've talked about a ton, and so have many others, but this is, you know, one of the best $36 pickups I've ever made. I'm talking about Dunhill Icon, the original. There are some flankers as well. A couple of those are pretty good, but this one is basically something that will remind you of like a fizzy grape soda. That's kind of the opening, but it also that you know, grape soda vibe, which there's no grape in it, but it reminds you of that, or like a fizzy raspberry soda if that existed. But then as you head into the mid and the dry down, you've got a little bit of woods, you've got a little bit of leather, you've got some darker notes that again kind of provides some heft and a base that will stand up to some cold. It's got enough sweetness as well that makes it a really, really great fit for the fall. You got a little bit of spiciness, a little bit of pepper as well in here. It's just a great, great fragrance and quite unique. All right, next up, we're going to go with one that's actually discontinued and was very rare for a few years, but somebody must have found a stockpile because you can get this all day long now for, in the, maybe mid 30s up to $40. This is a tester, so there's no cap, but this is Mercedes-Benz VIP Club Infinite Spicy. And so this one's got a lot of similarities to Spice Bomb, but also similarities to Man in Black or Azzaro Hot Pepper. It's that sort of woody, spicy, oriental. But one of the main differences with Spice Bomb is this one does not have the sweetness of Spice Bomb. If the original Spice Bomb is too, if it's too youthful or too sweet for you, this is a great alternative because it has a very similar texture, a very similar woods and spice combination. If you like Man in Black, you'll probably like this one. It doesn't have the booziness, but other than that, it's very, very close to Man in Black, in my opinion. All right, next up, we're going to hit the other tobacco fragrance that's hiding in here. This is a $20 pickup all day long at Burlington, at Ross, at the rack stores. You hardly go into one of those without seeing this one right here, CK Shock. It's kind of the ultimate beginner's tobacco fragrance. It's got tobacco and cardamom, so sort of a hefty, sweet, mid and base, but it's also got some bright fruitiness off the top that some say remind them of like a Monster energy drink. And some have even said that that's kind of what they did with the branding here, with how Shock almost reminds you of something you would see on like a Monster energy drink. So you've got this sweet, bright fruitiness, but then it goes into this spicy tobacco. It is an excellent pickup. My bottle is only about a 5-hour performer, as it has set a little longer. It went from like a 3 or 4 hour to maybe a 5 or 6 hour performer over the last year and a half or so. But it is just one of the best $20 pickups you could ever grab, especially for fall. And finally, an epic fragrance. I would put this one right up there with Fahrenheit Parfum. It's just, at the pinnacle of fragrance. I'm talking, of course, about Dior Homme Intense, this wonderful iris fragrance. It's got that, makeup bag, lipsticky iris that so many people love, but you've also got muskmellow or ambrette. You've got some real sweetness that mixes with that iris. You've also got a very woody base with a touch of spiciness. This is kind of the pinnacle of iris fragrances and kind of the pinnacle of men's fragrance in many people's opinion. It was voted the best fragrance of all time by Fragrantica users at least 1 year. Last year, it might have even been a few years. So this one right here, Dior Homme Intense, it is worth all the hype. I love this fragrance. So that has been 12 fall fragrances. I think these are some of the best that you can buy. To me, they really characterize what fall is all about. We're heading into cooler weather. We're heading towards the holidays. All of these are very suitable and they're great, great fragrances. But let me know down in the comments, what are your picks for fall 2023? And again, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. If you enjoy this video, I think you'll enjoy the ones that are coming out every couple days. I'm Justin. This has been Sillage Scents. I'll see you on the next video.